Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Lavin Julie Reaction. Recently, we have seen white folks coming out and saying that they are regretting voting for this government. Here are some reasons as why they are regretting voting for this government. I want us to watch these videos till the end and I'll be back with more comments. All credit goes to the original owner of the videos, and this video is for education purposes.
We voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down. But it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is killing all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people. He's also canceled Medicaid for my children. I know they said they put a halt on his freezing of the funds, but the Medicaid portal is still not working, so we can't access anything for our children's health insurance. So a lot of people are shocked.
What do you mean you didn't know? I am being so sincere right now because I truly want to understand how it is possible that in this day and age where we have access to any piece of information that we want in our hands, and we have 40 years of history that we can look back on for this individual, where a scenario exists that you legitimately wouldn't know. There have been dozens of women who have made allegations of SA that span 4 decades. There's video, pictures, audio, testimonies, flight logs. He has been held accountable in court for one of those essays. Where's the confusion? This is also an individual that has a history of conning people, not paying people. He's been in court hundreds of times over the last 4 decades. And I think he's lost about 92% of these lawsuits because he, in fact, does scam and cheat people. He has been found guilty of fraud in a court of law on 30 however many counts. Where's the confusion? Why are you not connecting that all of those things that span 40 years are the same exact person that is now in the White House right now? Where's the disconnect? And beyond that, where was the confusion about his policies? He told you what he was going to do. There's a 900-page manifesto. I know he said that, no, I don't know anything about that. But before the election, I asked, what is the difference between the policies that he's presenting and he's owning up to and the policies in Project 2025? I never got an answer because they were in fact the same. What he was saying out loud as the policies that he wanted to implement was what was in Project 2025. Yet we were told, no, that's not the case.
I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another or they're going to rise up and take our stuff, right? Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played by these rich people, right? So ultimately the rich figure out they got to come up with some way to get somebody in that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans, right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. No more of that, because you're too good for that. And we're going to take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep black people in line. Give them a horse and a gun and a badge and make them feel big and powerful, right? They're still poor. They still don't have anything. They didn't pay the slave patrol well, right? Just exploited them, used them as a buffer between the elite and the other poor folks, particularly poor folks of color. And pretty soon the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and white got together to overthrow the elite, those stopped because the divide and conquer had begun to work, right? You could turn people against each other by telling those poor white folks, they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide and conquer gets initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. Fast forward to the Civil War era. And you have, I'm from the South, right? My people, the elite in my part of the country, right, actually announced that the reason they wanted to break away from the Union and possibly go to war with their brothers and sisters to the North was in order to maintain slavery and white supremacy. They said that at the time. We lie about it now. And we say it had nothing to do with that. But of course, at the time, they didn't have any shame about it, so they just said it openly. Right? The vice president of the Confederacy, Alexander Stephens, said that the cornerstone of the new government was the great truth that the Negro was not the equal of the white man. So that's the reason the Confederacy was formed and existed. But here's the trick. If I'm rich and I want to go to war to protect my ownership in other human beings, my property, but you're poor and you don't own any enslaved people, why the hell would you go fight to protect my stuff? Because I'm a rich person. I'm not going to fight. Rich people don't go to war. Right? Rich people get poor people to go to war for them, whether it's in 1860 or whether it's during the 1960s or whether it's today, right? Rich folks get doctors to write notes for them that say that they have heel spurs and that's why they can't go to Vietnam. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you can Google that shit because he's sitting in the White House right now, right? Oh, I can't go fight. I have heel spurs. Send some poor kids to do that for me, please, right? So that's been a long-standing tradition. So the rich have to figure out a way to convince the poor to go fight for them. But that's a hard thing. That's like a hard sell, right? Like how the hell, why would you do that? Why would you go fight to protect my property rights when you don't own anything? The only way you would do it is if that rich person comes to you and says, hey, listen, you gotta go fight because we gotta maintain our way of life because if these people get free, they're gonna take your jobs. No, fool, they already got your job. That's how it works, right? Because if I'm white and I gotta charge you $1 a day to work,
I'm going to summarize the real reason for this immigration thing by the white right-wing nuts. So you were fine voting for a white man who's a felon, sexually abuses women, can't even keep his own marriage vows to the person that he allegedly loves more than anybody in the world. While she's at home with their 2-week-old son, he's banging Stormy Daniels. Praise Jesus, right? Has dinner with a white nationalist who praises Mustache Man from 1930s Germany, doesn't rent to black people, steals from children with cancer charities, causes an insurrection, pardons 1,500 U.S. citizens. Somehow they're patriots. You have no problem voting for this white man. He's a hero. He's a real man. But an immigrant that's been here for 20 or 30 years, that pays their taxes, who's never committed a crime, whose only crime to you is being brown, that person you're going to drag out of a church, You're going to drag them out of a school. You're going to drag them out of a synagogue. You're going to take them out of here, even if they have cancer, to put them in shackles so you can once again feel like the colonizer that you've always been. That's what this is about. That's all this has always been about. This country was founded on racism by plantation owners, the founding fathers. They're not heroes. They're not goddamn patriots. They owned human beings. There was nothing great about them. But Paul, they created this. No, they designed this country to benefit 21-year-old land-owning white men. And they said black people, based on what you look like, were less than. That's what this is about. That's what it's always been. They want to maintain their white supremacist male patriarchy. Ever seen a woman president? 50% of our country made of women. 249 years into this experiment. Gee, I'm sure misogyny has nothing to do with it at all. That's why we're here. Because part of this country and my demographic doesn't want to stop being colonizers and plantation owners and racists. Any other conversation about tariffs, the price of food or egg or gas, it's all bullshit. It's all gaslighting. This is why we're here. And until we tear this down and address it and expose it and put it out in the sunlight for the UV to disinfect it, we will never be a great country for everybody. I'm glad we had this talk.
The only, and I need you to listen closely, the only reason why this is going on in the United States of America, the only reason why is because there's a fear of black domination. Period. You have to know actual history, not history from elementary school and what you learned in little petty little high school, okay? You have to, even in college, you have to learn way more, okay? Those books are crafted, okay, to teach you what they want you to know about history. No. You have to go back and get real history, okay, to understand why people voted blindly, okay, blindly, no matter what the bills were, no matter what the laws were going to be passed, no matter what, they voted blindly because of only one thing. Okay? The fear of black domination. I am not lying to you. Okay? This is real history. I tell the truth, shame the devil, okay? Well, during the election, you got brainwashed people, you got racist people, you have stuff like that going on, but you also have history. So some people don't even understand why they are doing what they're doing. They're doing it because mama and them did it and they did it and that's the way it's supposed to go because this is how we maintain control and this is what. Okay? It's the fear of black domination. I'm going to show it to you. So Reverend C. Morris wrote this back in 1903 and he was a black leader. And he was talking about certain things. The Negro grows $1 billion worth of produce. He grows 8 million bales of cotton against the 4 million as a slave. He has earned 400 million since the war and is yearly increasing his land holdings. I know you're going to say, what? Calm down. I'm getting ready to show you something else. I showed you that part first just to give you an idea of the progress, the fast progress of Black Americans post-emancipation. Okay? That's one. All right? So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to show you where white people prefer to steal. They prefer to steal before they feel like they're going to be dominated by anybody black. This was written in 1888. 2 years ago, the leading citizens, both Republicans and Democrats, petitioned the county judge to have a Republican judge at each place of election. It was ignored, claiming they would rather steal than have Negro domination. Claiming that they would rather steal than have Negro domination. Now, I know that was in the 1800s. Negro domination. The fear of it made the South solid and keeps it so. Now I'm going to show you why they like to break up and cause migrations in the Black American community. They like to cause people to move and separate. Okay? Because if we grow too big in an area, they lose political power. Right? So watch this. This was in 1937. One of the objectives of the Constitutional Convention of 1901.
You know, I know a lot of you, and if you're like, is he talking about me? Probably. Are you scared to go in black spaces? If so, I'm talking about you. I feel like so many white people are scared to go in black spaces for stereotypical reasons, right? Whether subconscious or not. You're probably thinking, am I safe? Are they just gonna jump me? Like, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, are they gonna rob me? Like, but I don't really know like what you think is gonna happen. And I think a lot of you think, well, I'm gonna stick out like a sore thumb. You will. You're the only white person there. How do you think a black person feels when they walk into a white space? You will stick out like a sore thumb. Of course you will. Well, they look at me, baby, they're making sure you're not there to hurt them. See, the difference is you're looking at them through the lens of stereotypes, right? They're looking at you through a lens of self-protection, because obviously through history, this country has shown over and over and over again the way it feels about its black citizens. And it's still doing it today. So baby, when you walk into their space, they're just trying to make sure that they're safe around you because of actual historical reasons, not stereotypes. The magic happens when they realize you're safe. That's when the magic happens. And I promise you it's magic.
So Texas Republicans are withholding fund money to replicate Jim Crow policies. And if you haven't heard about this, stay with me because I'm going to explain it. After Reconstruction ended in 1877, Southern states started to employ redistricting techniques known as cracking and packing. Basically what that meant is cracking. When they would find a black population, they would crack or split the black vote into multiple parts, diluting the black voice to ensure that whoever the black voice wanted could not be elected. Similarly with packing, what they would do is they would put all the black voice into one spot, diluting it effectively, creating more an imbalance of white and black voices. So that ensures that black and brown voters are not able to elect candidates, push policies, or do anything that's necessary for the black and brown body that they want. So fast forward under the Voting Rights Act, and due to Texas racist history on policies, they would have to get federal approval for every time they tried to redistrict their boundary. However, in 2013, the Supreme Court, a conservative Supreme Court, ruled that they no longer need federal oversight to create redistricting boundaries. And you guessed it, the states that needed clearance from the federal government and 18 other states all created over 100 restrictive voting laws in the last 10 years only. But why is Texas so passionate about it? So in Texas specifically, evidence of cracking, there is Texas District 21, 23, 25, Texas District 5, 6, 12, 24, 32 and 25. I think I said 25 twice. And then for packing, it's Texas District 20, 30, 33, and 18. What we realized that between packing and cracking, there's 4 districts on the packing side and a lot more on the cracking side. Because what they want is for black and brown people to be represented by white conservative people, not black or brown people. And what this is going to do is create 5 more districts just like this, where there are 5 more districts represented by white conservative men, most likely. Now that's extremely problematic because there's a shit ton of research and long-term studies that have consistently shown that black people in the United States fare better off when they have a black legislator or black people representing them, even if black people in that district are a small group of people. What it shows is that white legislators oftentimes never advocate or prioritize the black struggle, the black voice, the black necessity, which is why we still see so many disparities in educational and socioeconomic status, in food deserts, in healthcare deserts, and the list goes on. But it's especially important because according to the 2020 census, 95% of the population growth in Texas were of people of color. So their immediate response is to redistrict black and brown people out of districts so that they have less representation rather than more, despite the fact that out of like the millions of people that came to Texas, that grew in Texas, like 5% were white people, but 5 more districts will be held by white people.
What's up, y'all? I make these videos. I've been making these videos for a long time. I was just doing it on Facebook, and it was just personal. But I just did it because I just like to do it. And I think I do it for a reason. I did a video on Trump, my message to black men. I saw the responses. And I replied to a certain extent. Somebody, I don't know if they were joking or not, somebody said, how do you know how to speak English so well? That's the same question that Trump asked the Liberian president. See, now, if you know history, Liberia is one of the countries in Africa that Liberians adapt to the American way very easily. We lose our accent very easily. Like, see, Nigerians have a deep accent, unless they've been here for a long time. Liberians lose their accent very easily because Liberian and American has this a certain connection. I don't know if it was because of the free slaves that went back and to settle in Liberia, or because Liberia has the same flag as the United States with just 1 star. But we follow America. America is a good country to follow. America is a good country to follow because America is the greatest country in the world. Why is that? It's not because of black people. It's because of white Europeans that white European slaves that left, and they said, "Give me liberty, give me death," and they made America the greatest country in the world. That's why everybody's here. It's a new country, but everybody's here. They say, well, black people say, well, they brought us here. Right? You would never hear a black person say, Africans sold you to the Arab, and the Arabs sold you to the Europeans so you can be slaves because you were stronger than Indians. Indians couldn't survive in the sun. Slavery was a thing of the world. Everybody was slaves at one time. Because back then, it was survival of the fittest. That's how life was. It's just the jungle. If you watch the Animal Channel, the gazelles, the zebras, the lions, they eat each other. It's survival of the fittest. The word is survival of the fittest. The human race was given a special skill. We had it with the ability to think. See, snakes don't have on bones and they can't fight. So God made them poisonous. Because they're on their belly and they're crawling and stuff. Anybody can mess with them. Imagine if snakes weren't poisonous. They'd be the weakest creatures on the earth because you can just kill them. They're on the ground already. You can just step on them. You can kill them. So God made them poisonous. You got certain animals, they camouflage. God gave humans the ability to think. Lions are strong and they can devour their predators. Hyenas work in groups. Spiders build webs to trap their food. The reason why everybody's in America is because, call it a white man. He just made America great. Everybody's here. Everybody want things. What amazes me is that the people that complain about America the most are the people that are from other countries. You're from Barbados, Why you not living there? I'm from Liberia. Why I'm not living there? You from China. And why you not living in China? But America is the most racist country in the world where everybody's here. If you open up the borders and let everybody in, America is not going to be America. You're getting benefits. You're getting American military benefits for the rest of your life. $4,000, $2,000, $2,000 a year for the rest of your life. What other country do you think that is possible in? No black country, I tell you that. And white folks, stop being so goddamn scared of black folks. Stop being scared to say the word nigger. Nigger means ignorant. That's all it means. Black people have all, you say is a term of endearment. No, it's not. If your whole life you're talking about the white man this, the white man that, that means you're a weaker vessel. Because white people aren't saying black man this, black man that. You don't like America like Trump said? If you don't like America, you got to get a passport and get out. Where are you going to go? There's nowhere on this earth where people are going to listen to your grievances besides this country. The reason why Trump is president, because he's the only person on the earth with balls. He got shot at. He said, fight, fight, fight. It's not about color, y'all. It's not about color. It's about freedom. The freedom to speak your mind. The freedom to just be free.
We have seen so many videos emerging on the internet. White folks have come out in large numbers crying and saying that they are regretting voting for this system. Others are saying that they were scammed into voting for this system. We are wondering what made them to vote for this system, which is making them now to regret their decision. But we have come out and we have seen that there are some promises that these people were promised before making this decision of voting for this system. Now their promise are being broken is when they are coming out in large numbers and saying that they were scammed into voting for this system. But you remember, these people were warned against voting for this system, but they didn't listen. They wanted to vote in for this system to punish the black folks, but they didn't knew that the tables might turn in one or another way, and now the table have turned against them. It's the time that they are coming out and saying that this system we were scammed into voting for this system. We have seen a large number of white folks coming out. Others are crying, others are begging, others are saying that they don't know where to go to, they don't know what to do next, because they have lost their livelihood, they have lost their investment, they have lost their jobs through this system that they elected in. They came out in large number to elect this system so as to punish the black people, but they are wondering, now the black people are not coming out and saying anything. The black people are quiet. The black people are striving in this hard economy, and us as white people, we are suffering. Our livelihood has finished, and we don't know what to do next. But these black people are striving. Their jobs have not ended. The black people are going to their various works, they are doing their various activities, they are enjoying their lives. But us white people, we are suffering. We are the ones who are coming out begging for help. Instead of them, they should be the ones who are begging for help, not us. We elected this system to punish them. Now this system is punishing us. What is happening? What is wrong? They want the government to give them answers, but the government has turned their back against them. They are not coming out and give them the solution. They are wondering what is happening. And here are some promises that these people were promised before electing this system. I'm going to read them one by one. Someone is saying here, first, before we elected Donald Trump as our president, he promised us he will bring down the inflation because the price of grocery and other basic needs were high. So he promised us that when I become the president, I will lower the price of grocery and other basic needs. But now the prices are skyrocketing even higher than before. They are wondering what is going on with this economy. They are coming out and saying that this economy is higher than the way we expected. This government promises that the living cost will be lower than before. Why is it that now the living cost is higher? Right now, if you want to go and live in America, you should have money. If you don't have money, please, I'm advising you not to go, because the Americans are now trying to find a way to come out from their country to go and live in another country, because I beg your pardon, because the living standard there is higher than expected. Another one saying here that the bird flu is killing all birds and no one has come out from the government to offer solution. All they are doing is stopping the disease communication from disease center in America, and they have pulled us out of WHO. We don't know where to get help. We don't know where to go to so that we can stop this disease that is killing our birds. Another one is saying here that we have seen some of victims of floods in North Carolina who appealed for FEMA coming out and saying that their application was approved. Now they are receiving messages that their application has been cancelled, and all the has been cancelled. Even the emergency fund has been cancelled. And remember, the people who are affected are the ones who came out in large number and voted for this system. Another one is saying that others have complained that their medical cover and are no longer working. Their kids' medical insurance are no longer working too, and they are in disbelief. They are in disbelief. They don't believe. They have left with no choice but to understand how this government is running now. They are in disbelief because they didn't expect this to happen on their side. They wanted this to happen on the other side. But for now, we are knowing that the tables have turned against the white people. Their karma is here. Their karma is dealing with them. And another one is saying that white folks have confessed that they have lost their jobs, investment, and other properties, and others have lost their family due to high cost of living. They are now poor and stranded. They are now poor and stranded. On the other side, the blacks are striving in this harsh economy. They don't see any big issue because they have learned to survive in this harsh economy for a long period of time. Now, the immigrants have stopped working for the whites' farms due to deportation, and it has turned out there are no ones in those farms to work for the white farmers. Now the white farmers are begging for the immigrants to come back and work for them. They don't have people to work for their farms. And we have seen even the white farmers came out in large numbers crying and begging for help because their crops were rotting in the farms. Others even decided to ban those crops in the farms because they don't have market to take their crops to. The government had provided opportunities to the white farmers. Now, due to trade war, they don't have market for their products. Guys, what is your thoughts on today's topic? Please leave your thoughts at the comment section, and I'll be reading them in my next video. And if this is the first time you have come across my video, please subscribe to my channel, put a thumbs up and share. See you in my next video. Bye bye.